Hello, Diane Cox here, back for the astrology video I promised you. And I'd like to talk about something that I've noticed while I was looking at the astrology for February. There's something that caught my attention, and I thought, actually, that's really quite a big deal, isn't it, that all those planets are doing that? So I wanted to just talk about it. And, if you're interested on the kind of day-to-day aspects that astrologers can talk about, there's some really good videos on YouTube where certain astrologers go through the whole month and every day all the aspects. You can even get personalized diaries with your personal aspects, so you know what you're going through personally, which is fantastic. But I'm not doing that because I saw something when I was looking at astrology for, I've got a little chart up there, that I was looking for February 2024, and I thought, well, that's quite a big deal that's coming up the first 2 weeks of February. And it's a kind of how the planets are always moving, and some move a lot faster than others. Obviously the moon moves really quickly, and you've got the sun in its sign for the kind of whole month, and then you've got Mercury quite quick, and then you've got Venus a little bit slower, and then Mars a little bit slower than that, and then Jupiter, and so they all move at a different kind of pace. And this is what we've got happening this month. So if you've seen my Pluto video, you'll know that obviously Pluto is now at 0 degrees Aquarius. So Pluto has moved signs. It's a big deal. If you haven't watched my video, have a little look at it, because it's quite indicative of our era on Earth, our time on Earth. It's a big change for the whole energy. Okay, so I've got a new little bell, and I'm going to use it to symbolize Pluto. I've got a new little claw bell. It's very kind of really draws your attention. So this is what I want to draw your attention to. So imagine you've got Pluto here, right? The big, wonderful, transformative planet of Pluto. And you've got Capricorn here, and you've got Aquarius here, and Pluto is just at the beginning of Aquarius. It's going to be there for the next 20 or so years as it goes through the sign of Aquarius. Now what you've got in February, you've got like a little build-up of planets. You've got Mercury, Venus and Mars all here, okay? The Sun is already in Aquarius, so the Sun has already done its pass-by of Pluto, which I mentioned in my last video when I was talking about Pluto. And what you've got, as I say now, is you've got these 3 planets and personal planets, and planets that are, influential, obviously they all are, about to go through the energy of Pluto. So I was thinking, when I looked at the chart, I was thinking all these planets are going to go through the underworld of Pluto. They've all got to pass through Pluto, across Pluto. I actually like to think of it as all these planets have got to travel through the underworld of Pluto to get to the other side of Aquarius. And they're all doing it in the first 2 weeks of this month. Okay, so just kind of think about this. Let me put my little bell down. So you know that Pluto is about transformation, and Pluto is about all things hidden, and that is, as I said in my video, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, politically, whatever, every realm, corporately, bankingly, everything that's kind of, we're not aware of. But Pluto does rule things that are hidden, under the radar, as lots of other things. Watch my video on it. So imagine this one. I'm going to give you some dates here. So all these planets that are currently in Capricorn, Mercury, Venus and Mars, they've all got to go through 0 degrees of Aquarius to carry on their journey. Okay, so they've all got to be conjunct Pluto, right next to Pluto. It's almost like, for me, I'll tell you what it feels like. It feels like an initiation journey for these planets. It feels like each planet has got to go through something very specific and therefore us and the collective and the global on the whole world kind of stage. So the first one that goes through, and okay, just before I carry on with that, so this is the first time these planets are going to go through the passage of the underworld, the initiation journey of the underworld, since Pluto has moved signs into Aquarius. So it's a whole new energy, it's a whole new kind of way of experiencing the planet themselves and what they represent as they go through this brand new, rebellious and ingenious energy of this Aquarian Pluto, this kind of transforming things on the world stage and the personal stage, with these fantastic futuristic, wonderful, unique ways that Aquarius offers. Okay, so the first planet that's going to go and be conjunct next to Pluto is going to be Mercury. Okay, so Mercury has got to travel through the underworld of Pluto and experience this Pluto in Aquarius in a very different way. Mercury is communication, it's the mind, it's how we think, it's how we process ideas. So it's got to go through this brand new energy. It's like, I've obviously watched too many magical films. Never too many. I watch lots of magical films. And you know how you can have this kind of energetic curtain or force field? I feel it's a bit like that. So Mercury's got to walk through this new Aquarian energy of Pluto as it goes down into the underworld. It gets showered with this Aquarian kind of mad energy, and it experiences a new drive of talking, thinking ingeniously, kind of wanting to, because it's Pluto, wants to get things up, wanting to bring things up that need to be talked about, need to be communicated, need to be written down, need to be kind of, processed. So Mercury on the 5th, 6th and 7th of February is going through the gates of the underworld with Pluto. So be very mindful of when Pluto does that to Mercury, how you're feeling, how is Pluto affecting the way you're thinking, affecting the way you're talking or not talking? Are you holding back? Are you purposefully kind of keeping things to yourself? Because when Mercury goes through this Pluto, it'll almost be impossible not to have this stuff come up. That's what Pluto does. That's the healing aspect of Pluto. It brings things to the surface. It kind of unravels secrets. It kind of shines a light on the dark aspects that need to be kind of looked at. It's shadow. It's the underworld, and there's beautiful things underneath the world. As I've said before, gems are under the world, rocks, minerals, water, a deep water, clear, beautiful water. There's lots of fantastic things about Plutonic energy. So just be mindful that Pluto is giving Mercury this little treatment on the 5th, 6th and 7th of February, which is why I kind of really wanted to get this out soon, because obviously it's coming up. You might already be feeling it, like this bubbling up of stuff that wants to be kind of expressed. And then after Mercury has done its little flyby, you've got, and it's kind of goes on to all the other aspects that are happening. You've got Mars that's also coming along, Mars the warrior, Mars the fiery kind of driven, trailblazing, get on with it, kind of fearless courage. That Mars is coming right into conjunction with Pluto. Now, when the Lord of the Underworld, Pluto, and Mars get together with that warrior fire, it can be combustive. It is potent, powerful energy. Used to its best, it can, break down the walls in Babylon. It's kind of, it can break down barriers. It's like fearless in facing, it's like a war kind of thing. It's kind of really like massive change agent. The two of them together, fearlessness and the transformation, the transformational energy of Pluto. So on a good day, it's like they're unstoppable. They will kind of, just do what needs to be done. And after Mercury has kind of said what needs to be said, Mars does what needs to be done. Now, it's very exciting. There's lots of things that need to be done in this world. And I am seeing a lot of stuff in this world that is like, oh, this is quite, as I said in my video yesterday, it's just quite nice to see this people standing up and people just putting their foot down and saying no. And Mars and, if I think about it, like Mars and Pluto together, if I'm thinking of a bad day, can be these forces that always think they're in charge and think they can tell the whole world what to do, will try and maybe push stuff through. There might be something in your personal life that might feel like it's just getting pushed through. It might be you that is kind of pushing things through and saying, okay, this has got to be done, and pile driving this energy into whatever you've been focusing on. The idea is if you're being pile drived yourself, you'll feel the whole Pluto, Mercury, Mars yourself. So you'll be like, no, I don't think so, and you'll be you'll get your own power and your own kind of feeling about how to deal with stuff. So that's happening on the, I'm giving you the degrees just before and just after. So it would be exact at 0 degrees, and I'm giving you 29 degrees up to like 1 or 2 degrees into Aquarius. So with Mars, it's happening on the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th of February, when it will be its most intense. So I would, I always think being forewarned is forearmed. And I know I've said this about astrology a lot before. I have studied astrology for, 37 years, does that make it? Or 47 years. 47 years, yeah. I've studied astrology for 47 years, and I've got ready at certain times to like, oh wow, this is coming, this big aspect is coming, and I better be ready, and what's going to happen? And it goes by and nothing happens, but something does happen somewhere, something inside, some way of thinking, some internal decision or something. It's not always a massive thing, but down the road you just go, that was a bit of a turning point there. Someone might say something to you, or you might see something, or hear something, and you just go, and then some penny drops or whatever. So I always think it's good to know it's coming. So 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, Pluto and Mars are kind of in that tussle. And when, I say tussle, when two planets are conjunct and they're next to each other, they can be swinging hands, skipping around together, they can be dancing together, they can be listening to music, or they can be bickering, and it depends on the nature of where they're at, where you're at, and how you're feeling, the influences. So you've had Mercury going through, and then you've got Mars going through the underworld. It'll also have the shower of the magical curtain that it has to pass through as it enters the underworld, and it'll feel this Aquarian energy. It'll be seeing new ways of fighting the battle, new plans, new ways of I was going to say scheming. It's not the word scheming, but just the way of planning. And I want to say statistics. It's not statistics. It'll come to me. But so Mars will also be having this kind of wave of this Aquarian lightning bolt energy, this surprising new insight. Same as Mercury, new ways of doing things, new ways of seeing stuff. Tactics is a word I was thinking of. New tactics, new ways of how you want to live your life and how you're going to respond to things and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to happen, like I say, on the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, when it's most intense. And then just after that, once Mercury's had its initiation journey, and then Mars has its initiation journey, you've got Venus that also comes, Venus, Pluto. So Venus also comes into the realm of the underworld, also goes through its initiation journey, goes down the steps, gets showered with the Aquarian sparkly lightning bolt, rebellious kind of, I mean, that's another thing about Aquarius, it's rebellious. It's like, up yours, I'm not doing this anymore, okay? It's like, new ways, everything's, you know, nothing's going to happen like it used to. So that's why it's quite a big deal this month. You know, we could all be having personal, you know, the idea, if we do our personal work, as you well know, if you watch my videos, if you do your personal work, it radiates out. If you stop, you know, kind of contributing to discord, disharmony, dysfunction, and you work on yourself so you're not triggered and you're not kind of led into responding in ways that you don't want to, then, you know, that all helps everyone around us. And as I said, you know, it goes into the neighborhood, the community, and into the cosmic grid. And once we all start raising our game, raising our vibrations and frequency, and stop reacting, start standing up, start saying no, it all will get a lot better. And then, so yes, then we've got Venus coming in. Venus, you know, all about love and money, finances, socializing, luxury, nature, you know, that whole Venusian energy, the diplomacy of Libra, and the luxury-loving Taurian kind of energy, which is what Venus kind of rules. So Venus is going through this same process, this new way of looking at things, this rebellious, fantastic, humanitarian and ingenious, innovative ways of doing new things in a new way, is going through the initiation journey of Pluto through the underworld on the 16th, 17th, 18th and 19th of February. And there's a certain date here which I have written down because it's quite quite a big one. Okay, so on the 16th, okay, I try not to get too jargony, but okay, so the moon is in Gemini. So the moon is in chatty, quick thinking, funny, humorous Gemini, but obviously Gemini is the flip side. And Gemini can be, you know, that whole kind of the dark face, the dark twin, you know, that kind of stuff. But on the 16th, when, you know, two of these planets are already kind of going into Aquarius, on the 16th, you've got the Sun, Mercury, Mars, Pluto, and Venus all in Aquarius. All in Aquarius. You've got a stellium, a big stellium of all those planets in Aquarius. That's a big deal. That's a lot of Aquarian energy. That is a lot of huge stimulation of this newness. So I'd be interested on the 16th, you know, what goes down, what we feel like, what happens in the world. You know, it feels like a breakthrough. On the 16th, it feels like a whole new world is kind of opening up, or maybe whole new potential is opening up. That's what it feels like on the 16th, because the moon in Gemini, chatty, communicative Gemini, is basically making a positive aspect to all, well, not all of them, but, well, you know, quite a lot of those planets. And it's like shining this lunar light on all this stuff in Aquarius. It's quite an emotive and massive potential for some great change and great insights into how things can be. You know, it could give you a real kind of glimpse of the potential of not only world healing, but your own healing, your own direction, where you're at, where you want to be. It could be a real moment of clarity of like, wow. It could be a great moment of letting go as well. You're just like, okay, you know, that's like, you know, just having the, I don't know, the presence just to go, okay, this is a whole new thing, which is what 2024 is actually, you know, about. So, and it's a time, and the day after, it's quite funny because the day after the 16th, on the 17th, there's that Mercury is in a feisty aspect to Uranus, which can mean kind of sudden conversations that you weren't expecting. You might say something that you think, oh, where did that come from? Or someone might say something to you and you think, oh, I say, oh, I didn't know you were thinking that all the time. And it could be great, you know, it could be really clearing and cleansing, or it could be like shocking. It's like, oh, I say, well, excuse me. So this month is quite a month of real transformative energy, not only with the Pluto, but there's the, what was I looking at? The other thing was a very nice lunar aspect. Anyway, no, let me do it, try and do it in order. So the other thing I wanted to say was the moon on the 8th and 9th of February is also between Capricorn and Aquarius. So not only have you got all these planets going through their initiation rite of going through Pluto, you've also got the moon doing the same. It's like, wow, we're all here in Aquarius. We're all going through the Aquarian age. We're all going through this, you know, super kind of electric kind of buzzing energy. We're all feeling that new energy really kind of coming in here. So yeah, the moon's doing that as well. Oh yeah, this is something I wrote down because I wanted to remember it. On the 13th, when Mars is conjunct Pluto, right next to Pluto, when these two powerful powerhouses are together, the moon is in Aries, ruled by Mars. So the moon in Aries is like fight, head on. You know, the thing about, you know, Mars is, the flip side of Mars, you have to say it can be aggressive, it can be provocative, it can be warring, it can be wanting to basically, you know, push forward at all costs. Doesn't matter about anybody else. So that's on the 13th. So that's quite, again, that adds to the combustive energy of what is already going on. What starts to happen then, quite pleasantly, on the 20th, after Venus has gone through its initiation journey through Pluto, is that the sun moves into Pisces around the 19th, 20th, depending where you are, depending on where you are in the world, okay? And so this kind of really changes the energy a bit from that, you know, that Aquarian energy that's ruled by Uranus, that lightning bolt, mad professor kind of thing. The sun goes into Pisces and everything kind of, you know, there's like there's a lightness, there's a breath, there's a spirituality, there's that healing kind of gentle dreaminess that comes in with that moon in Pisces, sun in Pisces. And that kind of really helps a little bit to soften the whole thing. And then at some point, there's a nice little moment where the moon also goes into Cancer. Let me find where I wrote that down. The sun is in, oh, here it is. Oh yeah, it is on the 19th, 20th. When the sun moves into Pisces, the moon is in Cancer, and it basically is making a positive aspect to Saturn and Jupiter. And the 19th, 20th of September is a real moment of, let's heal this, let's deal with this, let's really kind of, it's not easy to heal wounds, because a little bit like the tarot yesterday, where the Two of Cups was the difficult influences, when I was thinking about it afterwards, I was thinking, yeah, it can be hard to say sorry. It can be hard for people to acknowledge their mistakes, acknowledge they said the wrong things, and acknowledge that you know, even they themselves were in the wrong. So it can be hard just to go, oh, you know, that's you know, that's kind of a little bit challenging to do that. But on the 19th and 20th of February, it really is quite a nice day for all of that. After all this kind of all these planets going through and doing their initiation walk through the underworld. The other thing I will mention is this. It's a kind of long-term little dance between Jupiter and Saturn. And they're kind of, you know, they're going through this long journey where they are conjunct, and then they're square, and then they sextile, and then they're kind of trine, and then they do whatever. But it's quite a big deal this month, because they are basically, at the moment, they're kind of in quite a nice little arrangement to themselves. But Jupiter and Saturn, you know, Jupiter is all about expansion, Saturn is all about constriction, and they're working out the next phase, so to speak. You know, they're working out for the world, the earth, and us in particular, the next kind of developmental step that humanity and us personally are going to take. And again, there's so many influences that go into that. But it's quite an interesting thing at the moment that this is this kind of push me, pull you kind of situation, you know, foot on the brake, foot on the accelerator, foot on the brake, foot on the accelerator. You know, it's almost like learning how to drive, and then suddenly it all kind of comes together and, you know, there's forward motion. So there's a little bit of that going on. So I've got my little chart here. I'm just checking anything else I want to say. And that's going to be going on for a while, and let's have a look. What else do I want to say here? I think, like I say, the main thing was that Pluto stuff, and then the Jupiter Saturn, and then we've got, what have I got here? On February the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th, or it's a Chiron thing, where the Sun is semi-sextile Chiron, Venus is square Chiron. Again, it's not easy, but again, more healing potential. So there's a lot of potential this month for really clearing things up and talking it out, talking internally, your internal dialogue, and therefore your external dialogue. You know, I always have this thing about saying to people, don't ever speak ill of you. If I'm ever out with friends and they go, oh, you know, I'm such a clumsy cow or whatever, I'm like, you know, you mustn't talk to yourself like that. You mustn't say you're thick, even in jest. You know, it's you know, when you're in a loving relationship with yourself, you know, you wouldn't say that to a friend, and you are your best friend. And it's like, you know, don't. So the internal dialogue is so important when we're kind of really looking at ourselves clearly, and Pluto will do that. Pluto will make us go deep and look at ourselves very, very deeply. So, yes, the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. So it goes along with Mercury. Oh, there's my little kitty. Oh, listen to him. It's because I've got the door shut and he wants to come in. And in a minute, he might just come round here and jump through the little opening here. So you might see a big ginger bum coming through here any second. So yes, there's okay, let me just cover this, and then I know it's a lot to take in. So on the 7th, there's some interesting action from Uranus itself, where, you know, Uranus is the planet of bringing change, and it's making a relationship with Venus. So it's again new, the unexpected changes regarding how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about, you know, our relationship with money, how we feel about how we love the world, how we love where we're at, how we love our lives. Can you hear him? There's like all these surprises coming in. This is the thing about this Uranus energy with Aquarius. It's surprises. It's left field. It's the lightning bolts coming out of nowhere, and the lightning bolts hit and they like light up the entire sky, and suddenly you see a whole different situation that you might have been a little bit kind of blind to before, because the light wasn't right, the focus wasn't right. So Rufus! If I say his Rufus! Gosh. Sorry about that, shouting into his name into the thing. So yeah, all these lightning bolts with the stelliums, I've said all that, and the new moons. Oh yeah, the new moon. No, it's the full moon I wanted to mention. The full moon on the 24th in Virgo. There's some very nice aspects of this full moon. Again, very powerful. In Virgo, the sign of being analytical, critical thinking. It's a dutiful sign. What are you being dutiful to? What do you want to help? You know, it's a very helpful sign, Virgo. You know, it's not kind of tied up with emotions. It's practical. It sees the facts and figures, and it's a good way to, you know, bring that full moon energy into what you want to really kind of analyze at the moment. What needs a good, clear thinking mind with a fine tooth comb? You know, what does that need in your life? And yes, that I think is about it. What else have I got here? Oh, Mars square on the 27th of February. Mars squares Jupiter. Where it's basically active Mars, Jupiter, Jupiter expands everything. Mars is there, it's squaring. So there's like this push for action, almost too much action, like active, pushing, driving it forward. So let me just kind of bring that together. So you've got all this Pluto energy, you've got all these planets going through their initiation, you've got a lot of Uranian aspects so expect the unexpected. Okay, do the talking, do the internal work, talk stuff out. It's this whole idea of communicating clearly, communicating with honor and integrity, saying what you feel with love, and clearing the air. Getting everything balanced and harmonious regarding communications can always normally bring friendships together, relationships together, work colleagues together, and therefore you can work in harmony and towards a better kind of outcome. So have I kind of covered everything? I think so. And don't be worried if you do feel this kind of this Saturn Jupiter. The Saturn Jupiter is almost like breathing. There's the inhale and expansion regarding Jupiter, and then the exhale and constriction regarding Saturn. So it's like a natural rhythm. And like I say, with driving and with breathing, we all do it so naturally in the end that everything goes flowing. So hope that's useful, and those dates especially. The 16th of February for me looks like a very kind of pivotal day of the month. Enjoy it. If you notice anything regarding something that was really spot on for you, do make a comment. It's always good to learn as much as you can by any comment, but what does or what doesn't happen. And like I say, I always think just go with the flow, and whatever happens, just don't resist it. It's like Uranus. You can't resist Uranus. I've told you about my Uranus transit through my first house, and it just goes. Just go, okay, this is what's happening now. How am I going to deal with this? Easier said than done. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. Do leave any comments and your own insights if you like astrology yourself and study astrology, about how you think this month is going to go. It's all big stuff. It's the big portal. It's pushing through. I personally feel this all these planets going in through the gates of Pluto and Aquarius is a big deal. It's like a portal, and then when we get to the other side, we'll see what we are actually, what we left behind and what's in front, which can be very useful for planning where you want to be and where you want to go next. So, thanks for watching, and I will see you soon. Have a great month.